If you're a man over 60, I encourage you to stay with me through this conversation. What I'm about to share may challenge long-held beliefs, answer questions you were too hesitant to ask, and most importantly, empower you with real science that most physicians still don't talk about in the exam room. Let me start by acknowledging a reality many men live through silently. You're aging. Your hormones are changing, your energy isn't quite what it used to be, and you're wondering, perhaps even worrying, whether something as instinctive and deeply personal as masturbation is still safe or secretly harming you. Maybe you've noticed a dull discomfort in your lower pelvis. Perhaps your erections feel weaker, less responsive. Maybe climax leaves you more drained than relaxed. And somewhere, a quiet internal question stirs. Is this affecting my prostate, my testosterone, even my heart? Now, if no one's ever really answered that question for you, you're not alone. It's not something most doctors address unless you force the issue. And even then, the answers tend to be vague, overly cautious, or just outdated. Let's face it, most of us didn't grow up with honest, accurate sex education, especially when it came to self-pleasure. The messages were muddled at best, often layered with religious guilt, cultural taboos, and straight-up misinformation. For far too many men, the only advice we ever received was, don't. But now, decades later, here we are. Older, wiser perhaps, but left trying to understand an act that feels natural, yet clouded in secrecy. So today, I want to dismantle the stigma, strip away the mystery, and give you the complete picture. Not anecdotes, not opinions, but solid, peer-reviewed science you can act on. Let me be crystal clear. Masturbation is not inherently good or bad. Like any tool, its effects depend on how and why you use it. In 2016, researchers from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health launched one of the most expansive long-term studies on male sexual health. They followed over 30,000 men for nearly 18 years, tracking everything from diet and lifestyle to frequency of ejaculation. Their core question: could ejaculation frequency predict one's risk of developing prostate cancer? Their findings were astonishing. Men who ejaculated at least 21 times a month were found to have a 33% lower risk of prostate cancer compared to those who ejaculated only 4 to 7 times monthly. Let that sink in. We're talking about reducing the most common cancer in older men, not with expensive drugs or surgery, but with a simple natural function of the male body. This isn't just theory, it's data-driven inference from nearly 2 decades of observation, and it highlights a truth almost no one is saying out loud. Regular, intentional ejaculation, whether with a partner or through masturbation, may be preventative. But that's just the beginning. Each time you orgasm, your brain and body undergo a symphony of hormonal and neurological shifts. Dopamine, your brain's reward chemical, spikes. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone that soothes anxiety, floods your system. And perhaps most notably, cortisol, your body's primary stress hormone, drops dramatically. High cortisol, especially in older adults, is associated with elevated blood pressure, weight gain, lowered immunity, impaired memory, sleep disruption, and yes, suppressed testosterone. So when you climax, you're not just reducing tension, you're rebalancing your entire neuroendocrine system. Your heart rate slows, muscles relax, your brain enters a restorative parasympathetic mode. From a biochemical perspective, this matters. Researchers from the University of Groningen in a neuroscience-based study also discovered that orgasm causes a measurable rise in serotonin, the key neurotransmitter responsible for mood stabilization. This explains why many men report emotional calm or even elevated mood after climax. The Mayo Clinic has documented that orgasm boosts immunoglobulin A, a vital immune molecule. Meanwhile, papers from the Journal of Urology confirm regular ejaculation lowers inflammatory markers in the prostate. So again, we have a pattern. Not just pleasure, not just stress relief, but meaningful physiological advantages, particularly for men navigating the hormonal shifts of aging. Now, here's something very few men are ever told. Orgasms also train the muscles that matter most to your sexual health. Each climax triggers rhythmic contractions of your pelvic floor muscles, the same muscles involved in urination, erection maintenance, ejaculation, and even posture. As we age, those pelvic muscles often weaken. The result? Erectile dysfunction, urinary leakage, reduced orgasmic intensity, sluggish bladder control. But regular, full completion during solo activity exercises these muscles, keeping them toned, active, and responsive. It's the male equivalent of Kegel exercises, and it's completely unspoken in most men's health education. Have you ever felt that deep, tranquil exhaustion after orgasm? That isn't imagination. It's the hormone prolactin released in high levels post-climax to signal your body it's time to rest. Combine this prolactin surge with the lowered cortisol and elevated oxytocin, and you end up with the perfect formula for deep, uninterrupted sleep. Some sleep institutes have even begun exploring how orgasm before bed might reduce sleep latency, how long it takes to fall asleep, and improve REM cycle integrity in older adults. Now, here's something very few men are ever told. Masturbation only remains healthy when done consciously and safely. Most of the risks don't come from frequency alone, but from poor technique, posture, visual overstimulation, and most crucially, unconscious emotional use. Let's start with postural injury. Staying hunched over a device, seated on a hard surface with legs spread for 20 to 30 minutes, compresses the pudendal nerve, a critical nerve supplying sensation and muscle coordination to the genitals and pelvic floor. Long-term compression has been directly linked to numbness, tingling, chronic pelvic pain, and even erectile dysfunction. Worse yet, many men mistake these symptoms for aging when in reality, incorrect solo habits are slowly impairing urological responsiveness. Let's talk about touch. Years of using the same grip, same tempo, dry contact, or rushed mechanics can cause repetitive microtrauma to penile tissue. This leads to skin irritation, desensitization, and lower sexual responsiveness. Neurologically, a narrow, overstimulated pattern of arousal, especially if only achieved through highly unrealistic pornography, rewires your brain. Think of it as always turning the volume up to 10. Eventually, anything less feels silent. Real-world intimacy may begin to feel dull, awkward, or unsatisfying. Not because it is, but because you've conditioned your body to expect a very specific form of stimulation. This is known as neural rigidity. And it's increasingly common in men over 50 who rely on streaming content that delivers unnaturally exaggerated sexual cues. You're not imagining things. With age, several biological systems begin to shift. Blood flow decreases, affecting the strength and sustainability of erections. Testosterone production slows, reducing libido and recovery. The pelvic floor weakens, which can impair ejaculatory control and cause incontinence. Neural response times stretch, meaning physical touch doesn't register as quickly. But none of this signals the end. It signals the need for adjustment. What worked for you at 25 won't work the same at 65. And that's not failure, that's adaptation.
Second, lubrication always. It preserves your skin, protects nerve endings, and prevents microtrauma. Friction is not benign. Consider it maintenance for healthy sexual tissue. Third, vary your technique. Don't imprison your body in one pattern. Change hand positions, rhythms, settings. Train your nervous system to remain flexible, just like cross-training in sports. Fourth, listen to your hormones. Don't chase numbers or fixed routines. Some men thrive with two or three sessions a week. Others may do better with more. The key is how you feel afterward. Energized or depleted, connected or numb. And lastly, treat it as a health check, not a habit. Be mindful. Are there new sensations, discomfort, changes in skin or curvature? Let this be a form of self-screening and emotional tuning. Masturbation in later life can absolutely be a force for vitality, connection, and health. When practiced with intention, it is not the act itself that determines health, but your posture, your awareness, and your relationship with your body. This is not shameful. It is not childish. It is biological self-respect. So, if you're still pleasuring yourself at 60, 70, even 80, good. Just do it smarter. Let it be not the secret you hide, but the strategy you own. Because when done consciously, masturbation becomes a mirror, a thermometer, a compass, and above all, it becomes one more powerful way to stay vibrant, connected, and joyfully alive. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What's one thing you wish someone had told you about this 20 years ago? Subscribe for more medically grounded insights that nobody else is talking about. It's time we started being honest, not just about aging, but about living well as we age. Because now you've got the truth.